Namaste, Namaskar. Thank you for this great invite. Glad to be here. This whole world is filled with vibrations. So what you see here is a combination of A, U, and M. They were saying that combination of this makes Om. And they say that is the source of all the energy and all the words on this planet. Right from the moment, the landmass that came out of earth in Jharkhand, or the lake that was formed in Pushkar, the world is filled with vibrations. All our sounds, whatever accent you have, thick accent, thin accent, from the south, north, east, or west of India, we all are connected. We are all connected to this vibration that is sounds for our languages. These sounds are very special. So these sounds form our mother tongue. These are the sounds that we heard in its womb right up till 3 months before we came out into this world. So mother tongue is very important because it's something that we connect to this world. It's something that they say is a Sanskrit effect. It's something that they say is where we have our feelings, we have our emotions, we have our technology connect. It is who we are. It is how we express ourselves. So each of us have some kind of cultural symbols, whether it's the shawl that I'm going to wear, or it is the cap that I'm going to wear. So my mother tongue is Tulu, and that's the cap that they wear, skull cap, that they wear in my hometown. So if we were to look inside the skull cap, we find a lot of the cultural connects that form part of our nervous system, part of the brain. So this is the connection that we have to the outer world. So we have a lot of somatosensors in the brain that is connected to the speech, the language, the reasoning, the vocabulary. Everything that we are, everything that we think comes from those words. And the most important thing is all those fingertips, they are connected to your brain. The number of neurons that are connected on your fingertips is the secret sauce. These neurons have more space in the brain than your legs. They're next to the lips. So each of the fingertips is connected to quite a bit parts of your brain. So how are we using this to type, to write, to feel, to touch? But we just saw this user interface that we are all familiar with, that is a typewriter. We all are familiar with the QWERTY almighty typewriter that defines our entire life in the digital domain. But did you notice that it has just 3 rows, and on the very first row, the spelling typewriter is there. When you go back, please check your phones, your keyboards. So T came from the left on the typewriter, Y from the right, P from the left, and that was the marketing gimmick at that time. And the second row is shifted because the links had to go in between the two. So it's a purely mechanical layout of the typewriter where your neurons are connected to your brain. So how are we typing this? This is an example of a Ka-Naada typewriter. So they are all over the place. No matter what standards you try to bring in, whether it's ISKI standard, InScript standard, whatever layout that you're familiar with that you're using is sitting on top of a mechanical layout. But we have a very strong connect to the vibrations, to the sound. And these sounds come from various parts, 5 different parts of our mouth, Ours is as well as chest. So ours is like the ka, varga, ka, ga, gang, ha. It could be guttural, cha, cha, ja, ja, nya, ta, ta, da, da, na. Papa is like labial. So there is a science in the arrangement of all this. Did you know that our ancestors knew it so well that they had this organization of alphabets? But look what's happening to us. Most of the internet users are non-English speakers in India. There's a huge potential for India. But look at the challenges we have. So we have very few years left to save 7 major scripts, including Telugu, Kannada, Devanagari. So we have UI as a major challenge. So let's look at this mason jar. So all of us, we have played with the glowworms or some insects that we have put in. So when we put them in these jars and tie them with a plastic or glass lid, then we try to remove. After a few days, you remove the lid, they don't escape. Even their offsprings are constrained to stay in that. So that is their world. And that's been the world for all our Indian languages. We are constrained by this QWERTY keyboard, which has got nothing to do with the most important properties of pronunciation, the vibrations, the sound, the meaning, and so on. So why we need this keyboard? People say in all this new era, why do we need a keyboard? Keyboard, as I said, is an important connect from your neurons to the different parts of the brain. Whether it's the Sanskrit effect that they're talking, they've measured the signals, or it is the gyro movement, fusiform gyros that connect, or it's the somatosensors that you're trying to revoke, or the memory cells that you're trying to revoke. So a lot of things between recall of memory to connecting to forming sentence grammar. We have an incredible history on the layout of the languages. I worked in ISRO before, and I went to US to build a space robot. But I got into a lot of simulators. I built all kinds of simulators, whether it's flight simulators, ground simulators, or satellite simulators, satellite docking simulators, the combat trauma patient simulators. So a lot of things inside the brain. But you know what? Have you heard of this cultural simulator? I had to build a cultural simulator. I've not even fainted in a 12G flight simulator, but I fainted in a cultural simulator. We had to teach the US troops a different culture when they go to a different country. It's extremely hard, right? We have only exactly half, 26 alphabets. Indian languages are 52. Some other countries have different. So when a specific word is not there in a language, that behavior does not exist. So people were wondering why they're not agreeing to our terms. So certain things didn't exist in a dialect, that behavior does not exist. We have the same challenge. We have less than 30 years when 7 major scripts are going to be out of vogue. So it's very important that we have something that builds our languages. My mother tongue is Tulu, and we were teaching Kannada to our children in US. And one fine day, I was telling my son, please type. The teacher's waking up at 5:30 in the morning to teach you Kannada. He said, Dad, you speak Kannada, I can speak Kannada. You're typing Kannada in an English keyboard, so can I. That's when all my neurons, dormant neurons, woke up. What should it be for my language? And we had a small group of Tulu-speaking people near Orlando. And there was a neurosurgeon there, and he told me one day, hey, did you know our language has a script? And that shook me off. How can this be? So when I dug deeper, I met Professor Shastriji at Hindu University of America as linguist, and we found this logic in our Shiksha Shastra of how the Swara and Vyanjan needs to be in place. And did you know all our languages are connected, whether it's Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, Hindi, including Brahmi. We were able to type the Brahmi lipi for the first time since what you see in Ashoka pillars. We are all connected with the same vibrations. So we came up with a hardware manifestation of this. And I told, when I had my experience in the cultural simulator, and I knew there were less than 30 years to save 7 major scripts from becoming out of vogue like Tulu language. I was on a flight, I told my wife, I'll be back in 6 months. It's been 7 years since in India, because making this hardware was extremely challenging. So we had to build everything from scratch in India. This know-how didn't exist then, including the dice, including the circuitry. And then we had this huge challenge of taking it to the crowd. So we took it to all these village schools. They were like amazed at all this impact. So 3-year-old babies are typing in this very simple command. Ka shift A is ka shift E is ki, ka shift U is ku, the consonant and vowel combinations. They also knew how to add 2 consonants. So it's very simple 2-line command, and there's a language switch button. You press that button, I can type any Indian language just by listening, just with the vibrational connect. So then one fine day, my son said, Dad, you got to put the small pocket computers. So we brought this to a lot of village schools in India, and we stuck it behind the monitors, connected our keyboards. So here you see our Maharshi. How many of you have read this as Ka-Naada? I guess many of you read it as Ka-Naada, but it is Ka-Naada. The Na does not exist in English. Ka-Naada Maharshi was the first scientist of India. He's the one who did the 3 laws of motion in Vaisheshika theory, long before Newton. So our company is named after him, and he's an inspiration for us to build this entire ecosystem and create this impact. So the first thing, we started bottom up, going to a lot of the schools. We started putting these pocket computers, lessons, and the single most important request was, sir, we want to learn English. So we put mind map techniques. Using your mother tongue, you can type English now. You can type any Indian language. So here is the toy story of how we were able to build this e-Bhasha lab in various schools. This was amazing. There was a lot of opportunities beyond this. 66% of the population are not connected. They can now type in their mother tongue. They don't need to know English to type Telugu or Kannada or Hindi. A lot of things happened. So fonts got alive. We have very few fonts in Indian languages. So that's another opportunity. There are millions of fonts in English, very few thousands. So this is a great opportunity for students. So same thing with Tulu, my mother tongue. So we connected it to the keyboard, and from Kannada or Telugu or Hindi keyboard, type Tulu now. Tulu Ramayana was decoded. We still don't know the meanings of this. Incredible prose. So we wanted to also check, is it true that the brain signals are true? So when we're typing mother tongue, we found a lot of the signals are spiking. We connected it to the AI chatbot released by ISRO. People are now typing in the mother tongue, getting connections to space. Language is no barrier. Space is the next frontier. So I used to design these cognitive chips before. So now, how do you design an AI app, right? So you need to know a lot of language. How do we do chips now? The unary computing is based on brain models. So a lot of this new technology, this is the toy story of Ka-Naada, of making this entire product happen. So these are our new products that's going to connect the new set of vibrations, the new keyboards for our languages, putting a pocket computer in the keyboard, 3-in-1 keyboard, the best of both. We have QWERTY and our languages. So we have a youth band in Orlando. So they perform one orchestra every year. They sing in any language. Language, music is the only connect for them. So we don't want to lose our script and languages. We don't need a cultural simulator. So before we lose touch, please use your mother tongue, save your mother tongue. So when I went to, and the same connect happened here, me coming as a speaker. Same thing happened at Nitte University. They saw Tulu Ramayana. That connect got me in there. So mother tongue is very precious. We touch our hearts in Tulu when we see another human being. So you guys touched my heart, and we are all connected. Our 5 billion neurons in our brain, they're all connected. This is the domain Ka-Naada.Bharat we did in Hindi just a few days ago. Anybody can sell clothes or anything. So language is our connect. Thank you.